Okay. Hi, my name is Gloria Zimmerman. I am an English teacher by profession and a sometimes writer of personal essays and short nonfiction. Uh, Mike and I met in a workshop at our synagogue that was, the subject matter was the Book of Job, and I presented my piece, and Mike approached me afterwards, and he really responded to the cadence and rhythm of my words, and that's something that had never happened to me before. He asked if he could set it to music, and I was just sort of so flattered, and of course I said yes. And he came back to me uh, with what he had created, and it was amazing. And he was sort of trying to elicit from me, well, what did I think, and what needed to be changed, and how did I feel about it? And honestly, I didn't feel that I had the vocabulary to sort of uh, respond to that, because it's the first time I've ever been in that situation. So the next step in this process was that I basically had to direct two people, one who's a professional actor and one who's a friend, and they were the voices of my piece. One was God and one played Job. And what was kind of astonishing was that suddenly I was a director and I had to direct them in how I wanted them to say the words and the tone of the piece. And it caught me unawares that I actually that I had to elicit from them what they thought of the piece, and I thought that was kind of cool. And they also had their own opinions about my words, and some of which I agreed with, and some of which I didn't. But some of which I took, and I think it enriched the piece.
My name is Emily Roller, and I'm a librettist. Mike and I have collaborated on several different projects. We always kind of gravitate toward a genre that's like somewhere in between musical theater and opera, kind of hits that gray area. Um, but the way that we work, we've kind of developed a collaborative process over our years together that capitalizes on each other's strengths. Um, we come up with a story idea together, then we come up with what's going to happen in a specific scene, and then what's going to happen in a specific song moment. I'll kind of outline dramatically what needs to happen, where I sense that there would be musical changes, and then I give Mike that outline, and he takes it and he actually writes the music to it. Um, he writes the music to it and then sends it back to me, sends me a recording of it, and then I actually sit down and write the actual words to it after that point. So it allows me to choose language and choose like metaphors and symbols that really reflect what he's brought to the music. So it's been, I think, a very fruitful way of collaborating for the two of us.
Hi, my name is Anita Prestidge, and I am a cantor and performer at our local theater. I played the part of Dolores, one of the seniors in our Growing Young piece, and I had a really hard time with her. When I received the script, she was just very flat, and any attempts I made to add some drama to her just felt wrong. So Mike and I talked, and in fact, she had been very flat during the interview, and it wasn't until he was playing piano with her that she really became expressive, this 3D person. And so that helped. That took the pressure off me. But it still wasn't quite right. So we had a few more, I asked more questions. And I came to realize that while I was giving sort of a first impression of Dolores, he was really the expressive, emotional part. The piano was almost another character, and that together we were doing this full person. And that was exciting. I hadn't done anything like that before, artistically. But again, it still wasn't quite right. So I sat with her a little longer, and she reminded me a lot of my Norwegian German-American relatives, who are just hilarious, but it took me a long time to pick up on it because they don't have the same dramatic and comedic cues that I was expecting. So I added a slight Minnesota accent, very slight. I didn't want it to be a caricature of her. And adding that rhythm really made the dialogue gel with his music. And suddenly we had created a true representation of a very real and very sweet lady.